You know, these two fighters, they're over the age of 30. However, I find this fight very intriguing, and maybe it's because they simply do not like each other. In the press conferences, here's what they said. I'm glad you grew some balls and finally got ready to fight me, said Zbik. Sturm's response, I'm glad you grew some balls. So they're obviously hyping up the gate. Felix Sturm, 36-2, 15 knockouts, age 33. However, he has come off two very, very controversial endings to his last two fights, one against Matthew Macklin, the other against Martin Murray, both from Britain. However, Zbik also hails from Germany, so it does not appear that there will be a hometown decision in this one. I mean, what's your take when you think of Sebastian Zbik and Felix Sturm, Robert?
Well, I mean, I do think that Sturm has the advantage. Even though Zbik may be German, I mean, Sturm still has the advantage. He's the champion. We've seen in the past that judges tend to favor him, whether he's fighting a British fighter or not. And I think he's a little more seasoned, and we know he has more power. He's not the most powerful puncher on earth, but I think he's more seasoned. I think he's got better skills, and I think he's going to get by Zbik.
13-2-2 in three separate reigns as a world middleweight titleist. Sebastian Zbik in the other corner, a top middleweight, and so is Felix Sturm. They both are in the top 10. Sebastian Zbik, 30-1, 10 knockouts, 30 years old, coming off a very controversial loss to Julio Cesar Chavez in Los Angeles at the Staples Center when he was middleweight champion. So he had pretty much one fight, notably as a middleweight champion. It appeared that as the fight got closer and closer, Julio Cesar Chavez would get the win, and he did, as he is top-ranked golden child. So with that sort of mindset, seeing how he may have got screwed over in Los Angeles, only having the title for one fight, what does he bring to this fight against Felix Sturm?
Well, he brings a desire, eagerness to win the title, eagerness to prove that the loss to Chavez was a fluke, if not worse. And he's a fighter. He's a good fighter. He has a lot to prove. And again, I also feel as though Sturm has a bit to prove as well. As you pointed out, his last couple of fights were really questionable. And the Macklin fight, I mean, he lost. I mean, I don't care what the judges said. That was a fight that he lost. Macklin was able to parlay that just out of a fairly big money fight against Sergio Martinez. But Sturm has a lot to prove. And again, he's not getting any younger. The judges are going to be in his corner. That's going to be an issue. But I don't know. I don't know if Zbik can pull a rabbit out of a hat and defeat Felix Sturm.
When watching the Martin Murray fight, when Felix Sturm fought him, it appeared that, you know what, if you get in close and you throw first, Felix Sturm will just eat him. He'll just eat him. And although he tries to deceive you when you come in by covering up and then throwing, if you throw first, it appears that you could possibly beat him. However, getting back to Zbik very quickly, in 7 years, it seemed like he had no notable fights until Julio Cesar Chavez. Fighting him, do you think fighting Chavez Jr. got him this fight with Felix Sturm?
Well, to some extent. I mean, in a way, Zbik is an opponent. Albeit a fine fighter, he is an opponent. Which doesn't mean he can't have a great career. It doesn't mean he can't have a great lifestyle, and it doesn't mean that he's not a champ among those with whom he's friends. But some fighters are really designated as opponents, and it doesn't mean that he's a tomato can. It doesn't mean that he's a punching bag. It doesn't mean that anybody's going to walk over him. He comes to fight. But again, whether or not he can overcome Felix Sturm with the judges in his corner is really doubtful.
Felix Sturm, the #2 middleweight, according to ESPN. Sebastian Zbik, #9, according to ESPN. However, with the WBA and WBO rankings, he appears to be #5. Should the winner of this fight possibly land a more notable fight against the great Sergio Martinez?
It's possible. I don't know that either of them would risk it at this point. I think Martinez is got his eyes on other fighters. I think Martinez would like to come down in weight and probably like to fight Floyd Mayweather Jr. Whether Mayweather agrees to that or not remains to be seen, but I mean, that's certainly what Martinez would like to do, and it would be a terrific fight, and it would be a terrific fight for Martinez because finally he'd be able to get himself a big payday, and he deserves it, frankly.
In 69 fights, they have 25 knockouts combined. So if the fans should not expect a knockout, it appears, going into this fight, what should they expect?
Well, they should expect a boxing match. I mean, the game is called boxing. The game is not called knockout, and fighters don't really go looking for knockouts. People like Tyson did, but you don't go looking for knockouts because you go looking for knockouts and you can get yourself knocked out. It's going to be a boxing match, and it could be an exemplary boxing match. And boxing matches have their own thrills and excitement and their own particular quality. It's not as though every baseball game needs a grand slam in order to be a good baseball game, and the same applies to a boxing match, in my opinion.
Let me give you a hypothetical. If Felix Sturm wins this fight, and he doesn't even have to win it big, but he wins it convincingly, how much credibility will go to his name in winning this fight and just saying, hey, you know, he may have had a few controversial decisions, but he really came back at age 33 and really proved himself?
Well, I mean, that's exactly what it will be. I mean, he will have come back. He will have proven himself. Again, Zbik is not a walkover. He's not a pushover in any way at all. Sturm is getting older, but Sturm has been champion for a long time. And again, I mean, he's a hero in Germany. He's not a hero at the level of the Klitschko's, but he's very much a very respected athlete. And if he wins this fight, I mean, he will parlay that into bigger and better matches, if I'm not mistaken.
So who do you have at the end of the day? Do you have Felix Sturm or do you have Sebastian Zbik?
Oh, I'd go with Sturm, no question about it.
How come?
How come?
Yeah.
Just more seasoned. I think more talented. Has fought better competition, and he's got the hometown advantage. So I think, given that combination of factors, it seems unlikely that Sturm won't emerge victorious.
Does he have the hometown advantage, though? Because they're both from Germany. The fight is in Germany. So technically, wouldn't it be basically split? I mean, at least amongst the fans, if not the judges, about who would get a hometown decision?
Well, yeah, I mean, in theory, you're correct, except that certain fighters are marquee names. They're bigger names, and because they're bigger names, they attract more revenue, more attention, more press. And given those factors, I mean, that's what gives him the advantage. You know, again, it's not as though the judges are going to say, well, he's from my hometown and the other guy's from my hometown. It's that one fighter is really the marquee fighter and the other fighter is the opponent.
I think we should all
expect. Gives him an edge.
Yeah, I mean, I believe so. I think that we should probably expect more of a sweet science kind of fight and not one that will just be haymaker after haymaker between Felix Sturm and Sebastian Zbik. Either way, Robert Exel, always on top of it. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. My pleasure.